Lesson 8, wonderful. Understanding the exposure or the light meter within your camera. I do believe that all cameras have this. In the session, we're also going to have a quick throwback, just just having a look at matrix or evaluative metering, the different metering modes, center weighted, partial metering, and spot metering. We're not gonna discuss it in the video as such. But it is part of the section in the notes. So please make sure that you do read through everything and then complete the questionnaire right at the end. The camera comes standard equipped with a light meter, internal light meter that we use to indicate a good exposure. So as you can see on this image right here, the bar is set on the 0, so that would mean it's a very good exposure. It means that your shadows, your midtones, and your highlights are very much kind of balanced out. There are times you can actually adjust this with your exposure compensation if you like, but even if you dial up your ISO or make changes to your shutter speed or anything else, in the other settings on your camera, it's definitely going to influence your light meter. So this is just to give you an indication if it's a well exposed image or not. So if it moves down to the left like this one, it means that it's exposed a little darker. So this is 2 stops darker. It means it's twice the amount of less light than what you would have had on 0. If it jumps over to the other side, I'm just going to put this back on 0, and if it jumps back to the other side, it means that you've added light and you want to add a little bit of extra light on this. So sometimes I don't always shoot with my meter reading right in the middle. For me, I just slightly overexpose to 1 or 2 dots. Just underneath one. I know some of the Nikon shooters like to kind of dial it down a little bit, just to underexpose a little, to bring back some of the shadows and dark ends of your image in post-production. Fantastic. All right. I want us to have a quick look at, while we're busy with this, I want to talk to you about reflective metering. So reflective metering and how it works, it's actually very basic, very much the same as we did in the very first section. But we know that the measuring or the metering process works by measuring the amount of light that comes through the lens. And it's important to note that the light captured is light bouncing off the subject first. All colors we see get their tonal values by absorbing some of the light and reflecting some of it, and sometimes the light just passes through. In this case, the sun emits the light. It's coming in, it hits the subject. In this case, it's going to be a bride. Could be a dog or a cat or anything else, or a car. And then the light, some of the light gets absorbed, and whatever is not being absorbed gets reflected towards the camera. The moment that light changes direction from the sun, remember it's straight line, so that it comes from the sun to the subject, and it bounces off the subject, off the dress, off the flowers, off the skin tones towards the camera, and it is then passes through the lens and the aperture, and is then exposed on the sensor inside the camera when you press the button. So that is reflective metering. So whenever I just want to open up this one again, whenever you taking a normal scene, then your exposure would look something like this. There are, of course, cases where that is different, and we're going to have a quick look at that as well. Something really important just to remember when this, while we're busy with this section, is that sunlight or white light consists out of a beam of different colors. Indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, reds, and all kinds of other colors. But what happens is the reason why we see blue, for instance, in this illustration, the sun is shining all those different kind of colors and the color scheme onto the car, that all the other colors are being absorbed and the blue gets reflected. The same with green and reds and so on. So the sun will shine on a tree or a bunch of leaves. The leaves will, the green will absorb all the other colors and just reflect back the main color of which it consists of, and that is captured by the camera. There are instances, of course, where we need to revert to, you know, to a external light meter like this one, and it is normally referred to as incident metering. So when shooting weddings, it could be a challenge because there's a lot of light. You know, a bride is wearing white, or you know, taking for instance, a photo of an African couple, trying to get the skin tones right, and then maybe wearing a white suit and stuff like that. So it gets really challenging balancing the camera because the camera doesn't know, you know, what to expose for. Is it exposing for the skin? Is it exposing for the dress? Is it exposing for the groom's dark suit or the tux or whatever? So, and in such a case, we need to bring in something like external light meter like this. So instead of the camera then taking a reading from the light that is reflected off or bounced off the subject, what the light meter is going to do, the light meter is going to tell the camera how much light is falling on the subject, not reflecting off, but falling onto the subject. And then the settings are sent to the camera. You can dial it in and you will get a very, very good exposure shot from that.